Inspired by the hit TV show Shark Tank, this competition features 4 teams of local entrepreneurs pitching their business ideas to a panel of celebrity judges to compete for over $15,000 in cash and prizes.
That's the opening video. It was a great night. Thanks for coming, everybody. Drive safely home. Now, I'm so happy to be here. This is the 2nd annual pitch competition. And for any of you who think it's about baseball, you're in the wrong ballpark. Horseshoes, nope, that's up at the VFW. This is pitching business ideas to 3 judges, but you're the judges too. That's the beauty of this thing tonight. You're going to hear people who have that entrepreneurial spirit, and you're going to hear what they have in mind for our island. So I'm John Shea. I'm your MC tonight. I'm really happy to be here. We're going to celebrate the concept of innovation. You know what innovation is? It's dreaming things up. What do you want to do in your life, and how are you going to make those dreams happen? All right? So we have 4 teams tonight that we hope are going to inspire you and maybe your dreams. So next year when we do this, the 3rd annual, you might be up here pitching to judges. All right? So these 4 were hand-selected from a pool of incredibly talented islanders based on the strength, and I'm going to get this right, of their business ideas and their vision for how to bring these ideas to life. Tonight, they have just 5 minutes to share that vision with you, all right? And then they're going to answer questions from our sharks. But, okay, we like to think of them more as dolphins because this is family-friendly. This is the dreamland. We want everybody to have a good time, all right? All four teams have pitched. The judges will make their decisions, and then we will unveil the winner of a $10,000 first prize, all right? So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But thanks to the generosity of our sponsors, those folks over there and those companies over there on the, the left side of your screen, we have total prizes of $15,000. So all of our contestants tonight will walk out of here a winner. All right, $15,000. We also, thanks to the generosity of everybody, we want to thank the people who donated their time as coaches, working with the finalists to fine-tune their pitches, okay? Each of them, on the right side of your screen, organizations or people who are entrepreneurs themselves or started by entrepreneurs. Okay, and finally, we need to thank our panel of 3 shark judges. So let's meet them one at a time. First, there's Bruce Percelay. Now, Bruce Percelay, a lot of you know Bruce, has been coming to Ireland since the age of 5, has become deeply involved with our life on the island. He's the founder and publisher of N Magazine. He owns 21 Broad and 76 Main, 2 of the Nantucket's most popular hotels. He's also the owner and chairman of the Mount Vernon Company, one of Boston's largest private landlords and fastest growing hotel developers. Please welcome to the stage my friend Bruce Percelay. There he is. That jacket hides, that fin is very cleverly disguised tonight. Ellen Hildebrand is the #1 New York Times best-selling author of 27 novels, including Summer of 1969 and the best-selling current Golden Girl. Okay, she's a graduate of Johns Hopkins University and the University of Iowa's Writers' Workshop. She is the mother of 3 Nantucket natives and has lived on the island year-round since 1993. She sells a mean hot dog out at the football field, too, I'll just tell you that. She's a 7-year breast cancer survivor. She's my friend. I'm proud to introduce you to Ellen Hildebrand. Please welcome her. Jamie Siminot is a lifelong inventor. Jamie created the world's first Wi-Fi video doorbell, then called the Doorbot, while working in his garage on other inventions in 2011, so that he wouldn't miss package deliveries to his door. You know, the FedEx guy, the UPS guy. In 2013, Jamie pitched Doorbot on the real Shark Tank, the original one, but walked away without a deal. Well, we all know what happened after that. In 2014, Ring was brought to the market, which is now the trusted customer-first whole home security company. Jamie is the first entrepreneur to go from pitching to the sharks to sitting in one of the guest shark chairs on that show. And we are very happy to have him on our stage tonight, sitting in a chair. Please welcome Jamie Siminot, who is very happy to be part of our community. So, here we go. Should we sit and start the show? First in the tank are a pair of longtime friends who want to create a healthier snack brand inspired by Nantucket. Let's learn more about Hayden Arnot and Sara Jerison and Nantucket Crisps.
I'm Hayden Arnot.
I'm Sara Jerison.
And we are the co-founders of Nantucket Crisps. So Sara and I have been both going to Nantucket ever since we're little. I started coming here when I was born in 1993, and she started coming here in 1991.
Hayden and I met probably in those early years on Nantucket on the beach. As kids, we'd go to the beach and pick up our sandwiches, chips, of course.
We're eating our chips. We look down at the bag and we wonder, why are we eating Cape Cod chips on Nantucket? We figured Nantucket should have its own, brand to just instill pride in, and we wanted to find a way to instill the nostalgia and just like the Nantucket spirit within a brand. I think that we asked ourselves, why does Nantucket only have two real big CPG brands that come off of here in the last 30 years, and that was Nantucket Nectars and that was Cisco Brewers. Why wasn't another snack brand or whatever that might be come out of here? So we decided to take it upon ourselves to do just that, kind of scratch the itch of all Nantucket goers. But I think even beyond that, we want more people to know about the island. I think the most people, I'd say maybe in the Midwest or out West, know about Nantucket or have heard of it because of Nantucket Nectars. It's oh yeah, I've seen that juice brand before. So it'd be interesting for us to kind of bring the island into new territories.
The cash prize would be incredible with helping with inventory.
Yep.
Once we're done with R&D and design, we really want to hit the ground running.
Yep.
And the funds would absolutely be a source of launching the product to all the stores that we've promised chips to.
They want them. They want the chips.
Yeah.
How's it going, Sharks? How are you? Good, how are you? Good. I'm Hayden Arnot.
And I'm Sara Jerison.
And we are
Nantucket Crisps. Our company is seeking a cash prize to build our velocity to market. So last summer, Hayden and I asked ourselves, why doesn't Nantucket
have its own snack
brand? The potato chip is a $31.2 billion industry. People love chips. How cool would it be if the best place on earth had made the best potato chip on earth?
Seriously. So these are not your Seagull scraps. Nantucket Crisp is a high-end yet delicious potato chip where each flavor is a nod to the iconic beaches of the island. Using the finest ingredients and beautiful branding, our initial flavors are Cisco Beach Barbecue, Nantucket Sweet Onion, and Sconset Sea Salt. Basically, they appeal to anyone with a mouth.
Our mission is really inspired by the experiences we've had here on island. We've both been coming here since we were kids and are just grateful for the memories that Nantucket continues to bring us. Nantucket Crisp is really about sharing that experience with those near and far, whether they're in Seattle, Dallas, or Cape Cod. We probably won't get revenue from Martha's Vineyard initially, but we want everyone to have a slice of Nantucket. Our mission is really to deliver this Nantucket experience through our delicious, memorable, and high-end snack.
So, as you can see here, Our first bag is our Nantucket Sweet Onion. It depicts a starry night in Nantucket. It's a tribute to the iconic still house that is no longer with us. The chips are as sweet as a Nantucket summer night and as salty as the ocean air. So as you can see behind here, that's the photo of inspiration for our bag here. And as you can see, it's a moon, actually in our packaging, but it's actually an onion as well. We kind of have a fun play on these kind of branding ways.
Cisco is known for its fun surf, incredible sunsets, and family barbecues. So we created a Cisco Beach barbecue bag.
And then lastly, we have our Sconset sea salt. So Sconset, it's classic in every way, each and form. So we dedicated our classic sea salt flavor to this part of the island. If you look closely, not only is the lighthouse a nod to the Sankaty Head, it's also a salt shaker. We're witty. So basically, we're cloud nine for our chips to be loved by thousands of new and returning customers to Nantucket every summer, and ultimately for Nantucket to be put on the map as a nationally recognized snack capital of America. We're going for that. Big dreams.
Our goal is to really have that gotta have it moment. So you're walking down the chip aisle off island and you see Nantucket Chris and you just wanna feel like you're on Nantucket. This cash prize would enable us to develop our other two flavors. So you'll try the sea salt today, but we have a sweet onion and a barbecue. Also to start development with our co-packer, build out inventory, and distribute to the sandwich shops that are eager to carry us.
Mm-hmm. So let's get to the nitty-gritty here. We'll be retailing 2-ounce bags for $2 a pop, which allows for a 69% profit margin. The 2-ounce bag is the perfect size as it can easily receive placement at sandwich shops, grocers, and even at restaurants served alongside a lobster roll. By next summer, we plan to be stocked in every store, restaurant, ferry, hotel, and even food trucks. Once we have major brand exposure on the island, we hope to bring these chips all throughout the Northeast towns where Nantucketers live during the year, ultimately keeping them on island even when they're off.
Approaching about a year working on this project. It's pretty fun to see, final product here today. We're really excited to share it with you.
Absolutely. All right, let's have you guys try them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Hope
Here
you
we
like
go.
chips.
There's the sea salt. And then this is actually our demo prototype bag. So you can see our story in the back, and so we can pass along if you want. So as you're tasting the chips here, we decided that we wanted to be the antithesis of Cape Cod. Cape Cod's a kettle chip, right? So we went in the opposite direction. It's something more similar to a Lay's. It's thinner, and it's not as sometimes Cape Cod, it hurts your teeth. It's a lot of crunch. So it's true. Honestly, I'm sorry, Cape Cod, I don't want to knock you. But we went with kind of a thinner Lay's type potato chip, but still kind of putting in that crunch. So on top of that, delivering a great product, at the same time, we're being health conscious. At the end of the day, potato chips aren't the healthiest thing in the world for you, but we found a way to make them better for you. So they're non-GMO. They are naturally vegan and naturally gluten-free. At the same time, we kind of maximize on using limited kind of ingredients. So it's potatoes. What you're eating right here is potatoes, and it's sea salt, and it's safflower oil. And that's kind of what we're focusing on there, and that's what you're eating. And what do we think? Do we like the chips?
I was going to say keep talking, because I'm going to...
Okay, keep.
Eat the chips.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, did you know? Yeah, they're good. I eat a lot of chips.
Yep.
Anyone who knows me knows I have a whole pantry filled with all kinds of snack food. My children call it the 7-Eleven. So this is what I'm curious about. The packaging. So one of the great things about Nantucket Nectars, what is the best thing about the Nantucket Nectar? It's not even the juice. It's the cap, right? And talking about the little tidbits about Nantucket. So when you say that you want to bring Nantucket to the rest of the world, I'm wondering, will you include, I'm a person that brings Nantucket to the rest of the world as well. Will you include any kind of explanation or fun something, in your packaging?
Exactly, and I love that. So on our bag, that's a prototype, but we will include a QR code. So you use your phone, you scan the QR code, and it takes you to an interactive map showing you where on the island Nantucket is, or where Cisco is, and fun facts related to that part of the island.
Exactly. And then also on the back of the bag, we're still developing the story behind each different photo as well. So look in the back, and you'll learn about the still house. Like, what is that? Why is that important? Why is this lighthouse important? Yeah. Why is Cisco important? And we lean into the surf culture there, and our family beach barbecues and whatnot.
So let us assume this takes off.
Yep.
Will the product be manufactured on Nantucket? And if it is not, does it lose the Nantucket connection?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So, unfortunately, it would be very expensive to do it on Nantucket, having a potato chip factory. So I wish, honestly, in a perfect world, but our chips are being manufactured in New York. So it's a Northeast brand, but I still believe that our inspiration, the packaging and our storytelling, and beyond that, even like the flavors. So these are our first three, but beyond that, coming down the pipeline, we've been working on a Jetty's Jamaican jerk. So kind of leaning into like the Jamaican culture on the island. We have other flavors coming as well.
Town truffle. And
we have a stepped sea salt and vinegar. So really just kind of leaning into like the imagery and the storytelling of the island.
Jamie?
Yeah, and I think, it would be nice to make them on Nantucket, but it is like, I don't think Nantucket nectars, I guess they were made like at one point.
One point.
But not really.
Yeah, Plano, Texas. That's where they're made now.
The other,
There it is.
the other island.
Yep.
What's what's the ownership structure like? I think you said is there another co-founder, or is it just the two of you?
Just us two.
Okay, it's just you two. Mm-hmm. And then how serious are you about this business? Are you where are you from? Are you going to go into full time?
Yeah, we're going into it full time, and basically, our game plan is to solidify our flavors over the next couple weeks and months, and then launch this, and have it into every single store on island by March, April next year. But at the same time, finding locations in the towns where people live during the year. So Boston, Greenwich, Darien, New York, Palm Beach, wherever it might be. Because to be honest, it's fantastic having an island, but it's great to remind people when they're not there. That's what it's all about, I think.
A lot of products have island tie-ins, nonprofit tie-ins. You've clearly got the name.
Yep.
The taste of the product, I assume you're going to make more tied to the island, as you said. Are there any other ties that can make someone want to buy this beyond potato chips?
So one other thing is we were deciding we want to have a nonprofit component to the brand, and we realized we thought maybe we can do something on the island, but to be honest, it's great, but it's a little bit limiting. So we realized that we want to donate a portion of the proceeds to the preservation of whales and dolphins around the world. So the dolphin whale conservation. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. So there's a feel-good aspect. And to be honest, it's interesting because it ties into the whaling history of the island, kind of righting the wrongs of the past a bit. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
So much.
And we'll see y'all later. Stay
Great job,
crispy,
guys.
Nantucket. Stay crispy.
Thank you.
Hayden, Sara, and Hayden. So, did you wonder how tonight happened? Do you know this is brought to you by the NICE people, and by that I mean the NICE people, the Nantucket Island Center for Entrepreneurship. So you got to check them out online. You'll find out more about them. We'll talk about it later, but this is cool. And here we go with the second one, right? It's an accomplished business owner that's already here, right? A business owner who wants to make a real difference in the careers of young ladies while at the same time solving her staffing issues. Let's watch the video and meet Catherine Slattery and learn more about her Nantucket Island Captain's Camp. Check it out.
I'm Catherine Slattery from Nantucket Marine. I'm one of the owners here, joining this pitch competition to pitch a Nantucket Captain's Camp, a STEM camp for young women on the island. The spark of the idea is when I first joined Nantucket Marine, the entire staff was predominantly men, including the summer staff, and we decided to migrate to doing a mix and then a majority of women managing the dock staff. What sparked my passion as a younger woman left southeastern Massachusetts on a boat trip in a crummy boat heading for Nantucket. And as I traveled along, I got to the vineyard and knew that there was no turning back. I headed off Martha's Vineyard and realized with little to no navigation except my compass, I could possibly miss Nantucket. But I relied on the tools and my training, and I made it here. And it sparked the joy in me to know that I had the freedom to just get in a boat and be wherever I wanted to be. And that was what made me want to teach other women about boating. So every little girl you know wants to be a marine biologist, wants to go off and play with dolphins. But the reality is there's a lot of jobs in the marine industry that will get them close to the water, and maybe not just playing with dolphins, but having a lifelong career.
All right. Let's welcome Catherine Slattery, please.
Good evening, Nantucket. Good evening, judges. Good evening, Bruce. Good evening, Judge Ellen. Good evening, Judge Jamie. Kind of sounds like Judge Judy a bit, doesn't it? Hope he's nicer. I'm here to talk about Nantucket Captain's Camp. How many here in the audience have been boating and judges in the Nantucket waters? All right, a good number. So, we know safety in boating is one of the most important things. But first, I want everyone to close their eyes and envision what their vision of a sea captain is. What someone who's a captain on the sea is. Does everyone have a vision? Okay, come on out, young captains. I'm now bringing you the captains of the future. Have a seat. Our three young captains, we have Captain Neve here. She was captaining a boat yesterday at Nantucket Marine and steering all on her own. We have Captain Chloe, who arrived here from Hartford today, and I asked her what she wanted to tell the judges about her interest in oceanography, and she said she wanted to swim with sharks. So guess what happened? We went out in Nantucket Harbor, and guess what we saw? A shark today, which was incredible. And then we have Captain Elsa, who has been boating in Hither Creek since she was 2 years old. And she knows the most about safety here. So first, does anyone know what this is? We're going to do a little safety lesson. Anyone? Elsa? Do you want to talk about what it is? Or do you want to why don't you show the judges what it is? Chloe, Elsa, go over, show them what this is. So most of you see the big, uncomfortable life jackets that everyone's forced to wear, but these are the cool ones that the professionals wear. So, okay, why don't you, would someone like to demonstrate how it works? Jamie? Chloe, would you let Ellen show how yours works? No. Chloe, go ahead and let Jamie. All right. Thank you, young captains. Now everyone knows how those work, and they know that they should test them twice a year. If you use those, even though they look cool, if they don't work, like the one that Ellen was having trouble with, then it can be a big problem. The other most important thing when we're boating is this. Neve, do you want to give that to one of the judges? Thank you, Neve. Here, have a seat. So these are going to be the future captains. We all know about boating and safety from them, and they're young women that I want to develop becoming STEM leaders. You asked me, what's the need for a Nantucket Captain's Camp on Nantucket? I think the number one need that we all experience is that this summer has been the most demonstrative of it, staffing. It has been impossible for us to staff our restaurants, staff our stores, get food on the shelves of the grocery store, and staff our marinas. And a little fact that's there, a little unknown fact, there's 1.2 billion seafarers out there. How many do you think, what percent do you think are women? Anyone want to guess? 2%. Only 2% of all seafarers are women, which is an incredibly low number. Now that sounds like a bad news to me, but it's actually good news, because if I can train young women, I can move the needle just a tiny bit, and just think of how many more people. I'd have half the audience now to hire instead of 2 of you. So we can fix the problem. 6 years ago, or actually it's 7 now, I joined Nantucket Marine and became one of the owners. And I looked around, and almost every single function that was done by a male. I was one of the few women captaining a ship, one of the few women driving a forklift. And I even looked out my office window in the summer, and I saw all these young men running the dock. Now that's not something that anyone can, a man or a woman could do. So what we've done over the past 7 years is migrated from 70% of our summer staff are young women staffing the docks. I'm going to ask you, judges, to make this program a reality. I'm going to take a little minute for a 30-second video just to show you what we've done thus far. So as you can see, I've built the bones of this Nantucket Captain's Camp. But now I need to take it to the next level. What I am asking of you, judges, what I would do with the money is I would hire a full-time camp director to dedicate to this camp and get it focused on not just the work modules that already exist, but the educational modules. And the educational modules will be part of their everyday work. And they would follow the STEM model. So we would have science. So from a science perspective, we would have these young captains learn to be fish guides. In addition, we do a lot of initiatives at Nantucket Marine for clean water initiatives. We do marsh monitoring. We've used goats to eat Phragmites. Our biggest and most involved project is we grow oysters for water filtration. And we start with 10,000 baby oysters. And ladies, could you give the judges, and there's a slide so the audience knows what's in here. Bring these over and show them what's in there. So each one of those buckets has baby oysters, which you can see. Open it up. The tiny ones are baby oysters that are almost the grain of sand. The next one is about 3 weeks old. And then the largest is a full-grown oyster. All right, great. Thank you. So, thank you. You can sit down. So, that one full-grown oyster in the bucket, see this one oyster? How many of these buckets a day? 50 gallons of water a day, one oyster. One adult oyster can filter. So imagine that. So that's what we're trying to do with the clean water, and they're learning about these aquacultures. From a technology perspective, moving on to the next module, we would teach navigational skills, the ability to use radar, sonar, their GPS, ensuring that they aren't going to be caught in the fog, knowing how to read and change the screens. From an engineering perspective, we're going to teach them very fundamental, basic Yamaha mechanical skills. So they would be able to do things like check a plug or troubleshoot when an engine isn't starting, or even fog an engine. Does anyone even know what fogging an engine is? Well, at the end of the summer, they could all do that. And then the last final piece of the modules would be the financials, so it would be the math. And I would take charge of that. That would be teaching young women not to be afraid of math and to understand the difference between AP and AR, the difference between a P&L and a balance sheet, and what free cash flow means. Things like that are words and terminology that sound scary but are really so simplistic. And that's what I want to do for these young women. And we're going to go to the last slide, and I'm just going to leave you with this thought. Ample evidence shows investing in women is the most effective way to lift companies, communities, and even countries. Countries with more gender equality have better economic growth. Countries with more leaders perform better. I'm asking you, help us help Nantucket perform better. Inspire these young women.
All right, you are free to go. Thank you so much. That was great. The future captains of America. Bruce, we don't have to tell you, N Magazine just featured 3 of the most awesome women on Nantucket on the waterfront, right?
Yes, we did.
Sheila, Lucie, our harbor master. Oh, you're to go to pitch. Oh, I thought they were done. I'm so sorry.
I can go.
Give him the hook.
I thought we had another.
But while I've started, first of all, the only thing worse than the drivers this summer were the boaters. And as one who goes out almost every day, the number of people who don't understand that a channel has 2 sides, that there are speed issues, and the jetty is not meant to go over when the tide is low. So having experienced, thoughtful boaters is something that we certainly need. Look, I think your idea is terrific. I mean, it is to unlock that percentage of people who are not a participant in the boating world. I guess my question is, would this be focused on island girls and women, or would this be something that you would recruit on a larger scale?
A lot of the original gem of the idea was modeled after Caddy Camp, and that's where it started. I kept thinking, Caddy Camp has this great program for young men to learn all of these skills, and it's not just being a caddy, it's being mentored and developed. And I said, why don't we have something like that for women? And I said, this is the perfect arena for that. So it would be a mix of on-island and off-island young women. I have been partnering with places like Virginia Tech and RIT and MIT. I've had a conversation about making this a feeder program into some of them. And there's a lot of grant money out there, too, that can track success rates of women coming through these kinds of programs and the stick-to-itiveness. So I think, and the other piece of the pie is that I'm talking to people like Egan Maritime and Sheila Lucie, because we don't want to recreate something that already exists. So if there's a module that we have, that they've already built, we're not going to rebuild it. We're going to utilize what they have.
I have a question about, this feels very much to me like a nonprofit, but it is in fact a for-profit business that we're talking about, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, we went through this with my coaches about, what is this? Is it a for-profit, not for-profit? It is a for-profit at the moment because we do staff our marina, and that is how we make money utilizing these resources.
So the girls, so I guess this is my question. The young women that are coming to you are not paying to be in this program, or they are?
They're getting paid.
They're getting paid. Okay, I don't think that was clear. That was not clear. I mean, to me. Okay,
Yep.
So they're getting paid to come do this program. And then, of course, I'm going to ask a question about diversity and inclusivity. How will you address getting a diverse population into your camp?
So I already have some connections with some inner city New Bedford programs, and I actually have a director in mind who came to Nantucket when she was about 14 and worked for Mariah Mitchell, has subsequently gone on to Harvard and now has graduated, and she's in Europe doing an Erasmus Mundus program. And she has a whole feeder of these young women that she's mentored from New Bedford that could be a field. I also have strong ties to the inner city in Hartford too. So those are two places, but it would be an application process just like Caddy Camp is.
I mean, as someone I was on the water today. I love boating, and I love how a boat, it's the most frustrating, horrible thing in the world to own, which is why it's so perfect for this, because it has to be fixed, it breaks, you get lost. All these things are life lessons to learn. So I do love how you can use this as a way to sort of bring someone, to learn life skills. So I think it's an awesome way for that. To bring people here, the housing issue, which is the other sort of issue of our employment stuff on the island, how would you address that?
So we have housing now, and we were able to house 8 women this year. We're now possibly looking at the acquisition of more housing.
That's great.
And we also have, some interest in partnering with these universities that then would allow for some funding as well.
Great.
So, yeah, it's a funny thing. If you wanted to monetize it, you could do things like turn the modules into an e-learning and turn that into, there's different ways to monetize it. There's also so many modules that could be applicable to women here on Nantucket whose husbands have boats. I get begged every year to have numerous programs for women in boating and, just learning how to drop your anchor or dock, And the biggest call I get is I'm somewhere and my boat doesn't work, it's broken. And I say, okay, is the anchor down? They say yes. And I say, well, is it in neutral? And they say, yes, it's in neutral. And I said, well, just turn off the key and put it in neutral and then try, and then, and they hang up on me. So.
Bruce, how many times have you made that call?
To your captain.
Yeah. So.
All right. Thank you, Catherine Slattery. And I think that those new lifeguard boys, I would come in handy for all the drunks walking out of the back of the bars here and stumbling into the Easy Street Basin. Am I right? Just hand them out at the door. Let's not forget the Commodore of the Great Harbor Yacht Club is a woman, and the head of the Coast Guard station at Brent Point is a woman. So these are the women leading the way for the next generation, right? It's kind of awesome, right? Yeah. So any of you who have watched the real Shark Tank know that oftentimes the show will check back in with a business that has pitched on the show to see how they're doing. So we want to check on the winner of the first ever Nantucket pitch. His name is Thomas Holt. Thomas Holt literally rode his bike down the aisle here to pitch his bike sharing business, Sandy Pedals. So let's watch the video, check it out, see what Thomas is up to now.
Hi, I'm Thomas Holt, the owner and operator of Sandy Pedals Bikes. It's the first and only bike share system on Nantucket. It's all operated with your phone. It's drop off and pick up wherever you like. It's the most accessible and easy way to get around the island. I started as a child loving bicycles, diverted a little bit, and then I started loving them again by working on them and being a mechanic. I've been a mechanic for over 20 years. I've been in the rental business on this island as a mechanic and as a manager for about 15 years. And I chose that it was time for me to stop climbing a ladder and build my own ladder. So the pitch competition is a great push to help you learn what it actually takes to run a business and be a business owner on this island. So I officially launched on November 13th, 2020, and 2021 season was my official coming out party. and it has been wildly popular. People are loving it. I've watched from April until now just an increase in use. If I would advise anyone entering the pitch competition, the first thing I would tell them to do is be patient. All the resources that this competition is going to give you and open up for you, but patience and consistency is what you need to do.
Cool, Thomas Holt rode his bike down the aisle, pitched, and rode back up with $7,500 prize. So anyway, congratulations, Thomas. All right, let's get on to the next pitch. So next to the tank is a chef who is serious about continuing his family's legacy of fine, lucky you, chocolates. Let's learn more about, watch the video please, Marrero.
The idea for Nantucket Faraway chocolate was out of a desperate need to travel and reconnect with people. Like all of us during the lockdown, I was really missing family and friends and visiting other countries and learning new things about the culture and the architecture and all of these things that really excite me about traveling and about the culinary world. And that's where chocolate came in. Hi, my name is Marrero. I am the owner and chocolate maker at Nantucket Faraway Chocolate. My father is from Venezuela and I lived there when I was very young. And Venezuela is known as some of the best cacao that's grown in the world. Along with that, on my mother's side of the family, our great-grandfather had started a chocolate company in Philadelphia called Wilbur Chocolate Company. Family lore goes that H.O. Wilbur had created a machine that made a little dollop of chocolate, and they called them the Wilbur Buds. Well, the competition for chocolate companies was fierce, and Hershey saw this new little chocolate creation. They came up with their own, and they called it the Hershey Kiss. I started cooking professionally back in 2004 after graduating from culinary school in New York City. And I worked my way up to an executive chef within a matter of 5 years. My wife and I started a family in 2005 after we got married. And soon after, I realized that being a chef was not conducive to being a good father. And the opportunity came up when a headhunter called me about this great job as an executive chef at Great Harbor Yacht Club on Nantucket. Everything was going along really well, and then of course COVID hit. With that, I was laid off from my position, which really forced me to dig down and think deeply about what my next steps were going to be. I knew that chocolate was going to be the next phase that I was going to go into, and as I dug deeper and deeper, I became more excited about the idea of learning about the world through the language of chocolate.
Please welcome Marrero.
Everyone, good evening. Hello. Welcome. I have a question for you. Where do you go on Nantucket to buy chocolate? Where? Sorry? Online? Don't say Stop and Shop. Do not say Stop and Shop. Amazon? Of course, Amazon. Well, so sorry, but no longer. What are we going to do? Well, introducing Nantucket Faraway Chocolate. We are building the island's first bean-to-bar chocolate factory. Let's be frank, most of the chocolate that we've grown up eating is made from commodity chocolate. It tastes the same year after year, decade after decade. At Nantucket Faraway Chocolate, we're making it bean to bar, so we are sourcing and not hiding from the cacao beans. We are sourcing cacao beans from small farmers and growers all over the world who are using sustainable practices. And we're bringing them here where we roast them, we crack and winnow them, and grind them, and we add just 2 more ingredients, cacao, butter, and sugar. And we create the most incredible, luscious chocolate you've ever tasted. When you walk into Nantucket Faraway Chocolate, First thing you'll see will be the chocolate lab. That is where you'll see the factory in progress behind a window, making luscious chocolate from those cacao beans. To the left will be the Faraway Cafe, where we'll be serving incredible chocolate-inspired drinks and coffees and tasty pastries. And then on the other side, we'll have a chocolate bar, where you'll step right up and get chocolate-inspired cocktails in the evening and taste some of the samples of single origin chocolate from all over the world. You know, we'll also have, by the way, a retail space, and it will be flexible enough in the evenings so we can gather and celebrate all of the great things that we have been missing so much, and all the celebrations that we've been missing since the lockdown. One of the things about this is that we started this home cottage kitchen business just at the beginning of this year. The sales have been incredible, and we are so grateful for every one of you who's bought through online channels and direct sales at pop-up markets. We've sold over 600 units so far, most of them since June, and we have over 300 actually, very happy customers, and the sales keep growing day by day. In fact, this week I got an order for 300 boxes of our now getting very famous dark almond chocolate toffee that I'm going to be delivering myself for a 91st birthday party, and I'm flying it just to make sure that it does not melt on the way. What we're going to do is build out a team after we get a bricks and mortar location. That's what we're looking for first, is to find enough of a momentum going forward so we can find a place here on the island, and it'll be big enough for us to be able to host all of these things that we want to do. Being the great-grandson of H.O. Wilbur doesn't hurt. I've got chocolate in my blood, as you can tell, and we're taking that kiss back, by the way. I've got to do it for H.O. Thanks. So I'm really happy to be here and to tell our story, and please help us on this chocolate journey and to make this dream and take it far, far away. Cheers. Thank you. And now, lucky for you, I have samples for the judges.
There you go, bro.
Thank you. There you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here you go, Mr. Percelay. Thank you. Here you go, Jamie. Cheers. Come on, you think I'd forget about you guys? No way. As my friend Oprah Winfrey would say, you get a chocolate, and you get a chocolate, and you get a chocolate. We'll be handing these out, and there'll be some for you in the lobby on the way out. So, thank you. And with that, do you have any questions? I can give you a few minutes if you guys
I have a question.
Don't open in a theater. What are you?
So I grew up in Pennsylvania, and one of my very first memories was my mother taking me to Hershey Park, and the first thing you do, or going to Hershey, Pennsylvania, and the first thing you do is that fun ride. Anybody who's been to Hershey Park's gone on the fun ride through the chocolate factory with the rivers of chocolate beneath you, and you're in a little, car. And so that, I love the idea of having a storefront that actually, am I understanding you correctly? We're going to be able to see the chocolate being made through the window.
Exactly. It'll be a partition, glass partition, so you can see the chocolate being made all the way through and all the different components that happen. And it can be in a fairly small space, actually.
Right. No, I presume. So my question is, Sweet Inspirations was such an enormous presence on Nantucket for so long.
Yes.
How are you distinguishing yourself? Because I feel like people came year after year and they wanted the vanilla caramels or whatever it was they got at Sweet Inspirations. How will you distinguish yourself from that?
So there are two distinctions in the chocolate world. One is chocolatiers and one is chocolate makers. Chocolate makers are a small group. In the United States, there's about 400 of us right now. It's growing exponentially as people are now on the cutting edge of being able to source really fine cacao from these small farmers and the practices that they're teaching these farmers on how to use sustainable agriculture and be able to harvest and ferment. And I can tell you the whole process is it takes about 5 years to grow the tree so it produces the fruit. They harvest it once a year. They ferment it in these big boxes for like 5 to 7 days, but it has to happen very quickly. So it can't be transported off island. Usually Latin America and Central America are some of the biggest producers of this really fine cacao that we're getting. And then it's sun-dried for the most part, and then packed and shipped to us. So those are chocolate makers. Chocolatiers get commodity chocolate, and it's formulated to taste a certain way, the same way all the time. So they can take cacao from anywhere, and with all the little tricks and the recipe, they can make it taste always the same. The same goes for when you're getting the little coins or fieves, they call them, that pastry chefs use, that I've worked with my entire career. And they use those and melt it down, and they create all these pastry creations. So that's what chocolatiers do. They melt chocolate down and create things, whereas I'm creating the chocolate from scratch. And with that, there's all sorts of things that are coming up. Chocolate tea, chocolate coffee. The coffee is actually brewed in the same way that you brew coffee, but you're just using the cocoa nibs. There's a cacao wine that's being made now from the pulp that surrounds the fruit when it's first harvested. So it's a very exciting time.
So is your end game just to have a facility on Nantucket, or do you see mail order on a national level? What is the ultimate goal you have for this?
So the first part is to build out the factory here, do retail, wholesale, have the event space, and be open year-round. Our wholesale will expand off-island into other parts of the country and world, but into specialized markets that we identify as wanting to carry quality chocolate at a very premium price point. We envision this expanding to be able, in year 5, 6, or 10, to be able to have another location, a retail location in, say, Boston Seaport area, where the name Nantucket travels everywhere, as we all know. It's very marketable. We think that we can have the same kind of small operation facilitated by us here, and then eventually working with a co-packer to be able to distribute from a centralized warehouse even more all the way around the country.
Could you talk about the price point a little bit?
Sure. We are a premium product, and because we work directly with farmers as opposed to going through the brokerage. The commodity cacao is usually around $2, $1.80 per pound. When we are per kilo, 2.2 pounds, we are spending three times as much in order to get ours. So our price point from our bars start at the one that you have in your box on the left, and I can explain to you what you have in your box if you're curious. On your right is a hazelnut chocolate bar, and that is $7.99, and it goes up when we start doing our premium size. That's 25 grams, and when we start going to 70, 80 gram bars, they'll be $17.
So this is $7.99?
Yes, $7.99.
I have to be careful with it.
You do. Treat it with kid gloves. On your left-hand side are the cobblestones, which you saw referenced in one of the slides for the audience. Those are chocolate. My answer to Sweet Inspirations chocolate-covered cranberries, which everybody keeps talking about, was to make chocolate-covered hazelnuts. So I caramelized sugar that are over toasted hazelnuts and coat it with like 10 layers of chocolate and then luster dust and shellac on it to give it those amazing colors. The inspiration of the colors was from the cobblestones on Main Street after a rainstorm, where I thought, I can make these look just like that. That's a smaller version inside there. That's a 2-ounce size. And then in the center is, because not many people know, the fall, September is hazelnut month, when the hazelnuts are harvested in the West. And so a ton of my things that I'm doing now are with hazelnut. So that's hazelnut chocolate with toasted hazelnut and toasted almond toffee. So that's what you have in the center.
And that would cost how much?
So 6 ounces is Sipper, something, $17 for 6 ounces.
So this is really expensive chocolate.
This is
I'm just going to
expensive
say
chocolate.
that. We are on Nantucket. This is super even, like, you know, it's hard to shock me or any of the people or anybody of us here. That's super duper expensive.
It is.
You're in the right place, I guess, because
It's certainly a premium product, and it's labor intensive, as you can imagine. And we envision the price point, you know, fluctuating as we are buying in bulk, and we're able to drive prices down that way. We'll find a middle ground.
It's kind of an investment.
As most good things are.
And it's delicious. Are you looking at doing like a Cisco kind of thing, where it's sort of more out and event centery with this, or more
the brewery.
in town?
Not Cisco, the distributor. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in town. The square footage, of course, is a premium in downtown, all over the island, as we know. So it's going to be a destination location. So I think wherever we put it, it's going to be, people are going to come and seek us out.
it might be fun for kids. Yeah. I was thinking it might be a fun destination for kids if you had, you know, you could show, you know, like I was saying about my Hershey trip, if you could show the kids how it's made. I mean, that would be fun, right? Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we plan on doing with our events is, of course, tailored to adults and children alike at different points. We'll have wine pairing evenings. We'll do, you know, painting with Pinot and chocolate from different regions, be able to talk about all those different elements. But we'll have a vacuum form machine where it's a machine that makes, you can take any element, like seashells that kids would find on the beach, bring it to us, we'll vacuum form it right there, form a mold, they can pour their own chocolate and make their own little chocolate bar from that mold. So there's lots of synergistic opportunities, and there's lots of ideas. I really want to have a chef-led tours aspect of this, where we would work with at first the Spanish club at the high school that takes their trips to Guatemala, and work with them to go and take trips to these cacao farms where they can see coffee and cacao being grown and harvested and how hard of a work it is, and bring those stories back and be part of our family at the factory and at the cafe.
I think we're good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Andre, excellent. I'm a little upset that I didn't get a piece of chocolate, but I'll be in the back. Wow. All right, now, the last pitch. Are you ready, Catherine? Okay, here we go. This is from a young couple who want to marry their technical expertise with their creative passion. All right? So let's watch the video and learn something about Pete Arsenault and Lucie Lundeen. Here they are. And their art gallery.
I'm Pete Arsenault, and this is my wife.
Hi, I'm Lucie Lundeen.
We're an e-commerce art gallery. We sell works by island artists and photographers. The idea is to sell finished, framed works and ship them directly to customers where they live on or off island. I grew up on Cape Cod, and my first connection with Nantucket was actually my first job. I was an extra in One Crazy Summer. I was in the Cub Scout scene, standing next to Ak. So that was my first job, actually, was acting in a movie for Nantucket.
I've been coming to Nantucket since I was a little kid. My mom had a store here. She had a gallery, an antique store on Main Street, and she supported local artists, and we are hoping to do the same.
Well, I started playing music with some of my friends here, which got me connected with the creative community. We started Cocavan, which is the local island gypsy band, as well as Buckle and Shake, which is the country band. And that's kind of been our social scene here. Those are the people who we love to spend time with. Some of our favorite people on island are the creatives. And when we're looking at the vertical markets on the island for what I do professionally with IT and doing computers, it seemed like there was a good opportunity to be able to help creative people. The best things about the island end up in artists' work. And if we can use technology and software to scale that to other places, connect the artist's work with the buyers off island, and in other islands in similar locations. We feel that it could be a great use of our skills and a great way for us to help our friends and people we love.
All right, please welcome Pete Arsenault and Lucie Lundin. We're going to bring out some surprises for you. It's going to take a second, talk among yourselves. You want to come out? Yes, come out. Here's Lucie, here's Pete. All right, let's bring this stuff out, brother. How are we going to do this? We're rolling. All right, here we go.
My name is Lucie Lundin, and this is my husband, Pete Arsenault.
We're starting an online gallery that connects fine artists to the global market using tech and media. We want to combine our experience in design, IT, and marketing to bring the traditional gallery model into the 21st century.
I'm an interior designer here on Nantucket, but I was trained to be a fine artist. I realized, though, that a huge part of being a professional artist is that I had to constantly market myself. To sell as an artist, you have to rely on either a gallery to do the marketing, or you have to market yourself on social media. Artists want to work on their art, not endlessly work on their image. So we thought, how could we help market Nantucket artists and make buying art seamless?
In my IT work on Nantucket, I do my best to try to make technology as simple as possible for business owners. They're totally focused on running their business and just trying to get through the crazy season. And that's what we want to do for creatives here. We want to take the tech and the marketing and put it under one brand.
I always wanted to use local Nantucket art in my designs, but found it was so hard to actually see what was available. I want to see what's available right now that I can propose to my client and use to design rooms around. As it is, I would need to go to a gallery and use what's in their inventory or contact the artist directly. Using our platform, I can see art that I can get now, and I can customize the size, format, and framing design options for my space.
So our working title for our project is Faraway Island Gallery. We have a secure e-commerce platform that's designed by an art-specific software company, and we've contracted with a venture capital-backed digital agency to systemize the marketing with organic and paid traffic. Also, really, the big opportunity that we're most excited about is the ability to scale using virtual locations. We want to take this to places that share demographics, places like the Hamptons, Palm Beach, the Vineyard, the Cape, Washington, D.C., and 10 other locations that we have identified that would share the demographics for our buyer's market. Also, we'll have NFTs that are available for select original works. Now, NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens, which is a little like Bitcoin for art. It lets creators have a stake in the resale value of their work as a digital asset. We want to be in a position to be able to catch that wave when it hits. I'm a huge nerd, so there's a little. Wasn't sure if we should bring up NFTs because it can just nerd out, nerd, Bitcoin, nerd. I feel half the crowd goes, the other half goes, what? So basically, in one sentence, it's basically the technology is called blockchain and allows people who don't know each other to create trust. And the amount of applications that can have in our world is amazing. We have just a lot of different kind of digital contracts. And for artists, if somebody sells a piece of art, it allows them to retain the value of their artwork as if it's sold on and on. As long as Jamie knows what I'm talking about, which I know he knows what I'm talking about.
Our new platform even features something called a virtual room technology. So you can see what the piece would look like in your house. And that is such a great tool for interior designers to show their clients or use for themselves. So why us and why now? So this new business would combine Pete's experience with tech and marketing and my experience with fine art and interior design. My own mom owned a store here downtown and one in Palm Beach for 30 years. But that model doesn't work anymore.
And that's why the timing in the world is right for this. If we're going to bootstrap a family business, we have to take into consideration the economic reality of doing business on Nantucket. Catherine had mentioned it earlier. I think everyone in the room knows what's going on. Demand for everything is booming, but it's almost impossible to get staff to do the work because there's almost nowhere left to live because the cost of living is so high. Now, if you think about what that does for artists, for Nantucket artists here, they're becoming an endangered species. And for 150 years, we've had a current of artists coming here to do work because of the beauty here. And that current is really turning into a trickle in the past 10 or 15 years. So our model to work has to have low overhead. And that means no six-figure rent going to a downtown gallery, or a percentage of the gross going to the landlord, and limiting the amount of staff that we would have because we might not be able to replace them if they leave. So that money is much better spent on locals making things. So that way we can directly help local creatives instead of keeping the lights on or making payroll. So we'd have a budget for project work for local actors and directors. Look at you, John Shea. Writers and musicians to create marketing content to promote the artists.
I used to be the events and PR manager for Bartlett Farm and director of decor for Nantucket Wine and Food Festival. We have the ability and experience to put on unbelievable events with incredible art, live music, local chefs, and so beautiful. Pete and I have spent our entire careers promoting Nantucket businesses. Now we want to promote Nantucket artists.
Our prices will be artist-driven, mixing island demand with their self-identified value. Our prices will start at $400 for small format or archival prints and go all the way up to $25,000 and beyond for large and custom pieces. And we're going to try to keep the gross margin at 33%.
We think the most important thing is for artists to pick the price that they want to make from their piece. We market the artwork, and when it sells, we send the artist a check. It costs the artist nothing. Our site will give buyers and designers the opportunity to purchase artwork on the spot. We can offer multiple sizes of photography and can print, mat, frame, and ship the artwork directly and safely.
The global art market is $50 billion, but we'd rather have small wins in small markets than try to drown in a large market. So we can do that by using data to focus our marketing on locations where our buyers would live, not just where they have their second homes.
In a perfect world, the artists would simply create. Artists want this model. We would give Nantucket artists global exposure. We'll market their art to hospitals, corporations, interior designers, luxury yacht designers, and the list will go on and on.
We'll go to market with 3 customer acquisition methods. Locally, hands-on, one-to-one, the way it's always been done traditionally with the openings and your network and local partnerships. Marketing at scale using social media, especially LinkedIn for corporate and Instagram for designers. And we'd also have sales systems with direct outreach for industry and corporate buyers.
Pete and I know that we're the best ones to do this. We have the experience, the vision, the passion to bring this artist colony into the 21st century.
And if we're fortunate enough to win, we'll use the funds to build our portfolio of fine artists and have a beta version of our site up hopefully by Christmas stroll. We'll systemize our marketing and sales, and we'll crowdfund or raise seed capital for 2022. If we can make this model work here with no overhead, few employees, no inventory, this can work in other places like here. So we can use our specific knowledge and leverage to create a passive income for local artists.
So, in closing, we wanted to show you the work of some of Nantucket's best artists, with works by artists Daniel Sutherland and Lou Guarnaccia, accompanied by Nantucket musical artists and my husband's band, Coco Van.
Okay. So I love the idea of it, and I think there's definitely a need for it. It seems like you're trying to do a lot of things. It's like you sort of say you're focused, but it's like we're focused on three things. Like focus is to me one thing, and so I do wonder if it's like for the first customers, it really like designer decorators, and really going after that and like just like hyper focus and then build from there, because the focus you have is like on still a very big pie in this market, and there are a lot of different sort of online art.coms out there that are also going for this, so the cost to click is high.
Certainly. Well, attention is what sells art. So everyone is trying to go after the same market, certainly. We would be doing this in markets that are similar to Nantucket. So by going to Nantucket, the Vineyard, the Hamptons, and Palm Beach just to start, those have very similar markets and they're geographically based. It wouldn't all be paid search. We would certainly spend the first year trying to do organic traffic. I think a lot of video-based content, especially authentic-based content, instead of how it's traditionally done. We want to try to do things that are really experience-based, that would connect with what the artist did in the first place, what they saw that made them inspired to make this kind of art. So certainly there'd be a high cost per click for you paid advertising. We don't see too many other galleries able to do marketing at that scale, being able to go after corporations as well as designers. So I would be able to set up a sales system, which would really be a couple hundred, 400 or 500 companies a month. Not really that much, but that's a couple thousand a year. And then designers in each location, we would try to focus on the urban areas by doing New York and DC. That's a huge market where we can kind of expand. And then slowly, organically grow from there and building a critical mass through our social media.
So is your focus selling exclusively Nantucket art to these other markets, or are you looking to have local artists in those markets? I'm a little unclear.
We're going to start on Nantucket with Nantucket local artists. So for Stroll, we would certainly find artists that would fit within the color palette that Lucie has seen that it sells with interior designers.
Right, we're going to curate art that would work in interior design applications. So some photographs might be beautiful photographs, but they wouldn't necessarily do well in a house, like they're too moody or too dark. So ours would be kind of interior designer to interior designer.
But then we would move forward by going to each location. We would go to, say, the Vineyard and the Cape and the Hamptons, and there are artists there that would also fit into this palette, and they're all a little bit different. Certainly the Vineyard and Nantucket are not the same thing. The Hamptons and Nantucket have more in common. But we would find artists in each location, and you'd be able to search on our site by geographical area, by artist, have profiles for all the artists, and we even want to have local creators in each area help with the marketing for each location. So you'd have people doing video and music and writing content.
Artists often complain about the cost of selling through a gallery. What is their cost of selling through you? What is their take? What is your take?
Because there are a lot of galleries out here, we weren't sure if we want to give up the business model in that sense, but we would have a lot of times consignment.
So we're investors without knowing the business model.
We could talk offline, but no. So we would try to do photography is generally a 50-50 with photography. We would be negotiable with that, certainly. We want to work with what the artists want to do. With painting, that's a much different thing. We were thinking 75% of our work would be with digital photography, and then 25% would be with painting, because the physical attributes of having to ship and all of that is quite difficult.
That's right, and we have the ability to print the photograph. So we print the photograph, deal with the customer, mat it, put it in the frame, help them pick out what kind of frame. We pack it up, we ship it, we'll do all of that. So we take that off the artist's plate, and that's a lot of times the worst part of it, is having to deal with the customers and get the art ready to go. So that's a huge part that we're taking on, and so that's what we're getting paid for.
So it would be more 50-50 for digital art, and that would depend. But for physical, it's more 30-70 for the artist. And then we have to figure out exactly how we can do the shipping, because that is certainly a more difficult part. But everything would be off island for the digital part, and And that seems to be where we can go to other locations, and it's much easier to have that kind of product.
Right, and the artist really chooses how much to make. So we ask them, how much do you want to make, and then we mark it up from there.
I'm a little bit confused. So painters, so I'm a painter. I'm not a painter, but let's say I was a painter, and I give you my inventory. I give you 5 paintings, and I say, okay, I'm going to give you my 5 paintings for your website, and then you take pictures of them, put them up on your site. Somebody buys them, and then you take responsibility for getting my painting to the customer.
Right, so we can pack it up for them. I'll go over and pick it up, and then when we get bigger, of course, we'll do that to scale, I guess, but we take that responsibility away from you. So you don't have to deal with the customer, and we'll pack it and ship it to them. That's what was our idea.
On Nantucket starting, the painting on the other areas, we would have to scale on a different level and have more resources to do so. But certainly starting here, we would be able to do that ourselves.
We would support the Nantucket artists in doing that.
And how will you draw eyeballs to your website?
Well, we have a digital marketing agency that I've contracted with. I do IT, so I can actually resell as a software as a service a lot of things like Facebook ads. You can do paid ads. You can also do reputation management. You can do SEO. A lot of ways that you can optimize your site to get people to see you. But really, we would focus on content. We would focus on creating authentic content that is inspired by what the subject matter that the artists create. And that would be where we would try to contract with local creators that would be able to. I almost see it like writing a serialized story, like a Netflix show that you would have for the year. But you could do it with maybe 3 minutes of video a week, and you could do it across different platforms. So if you do it that way, and you write it all out at once, and you kind of do it based on the activities that people love to do, so it's experience-based and not like stuff-based, I think that's what people really connect with because it's universal, as opposed to sometimes what can be the more superficial aspects of our play.
This is totally inappropriate, but there is a magazine I could recommend to you.
I heard about it. If we're opening a Christmas stroll, it would be really convenient to have an article.
I just have to say, so I get pitched a lot of businesses, and they'll say they're, in Q1 we're going to launch, or 6 months, 12 months. It's nice to be in a place where Christmas stroll is when you're going to launch. I'm happy to be back in Nantucket. So thank you for that.
Q4 is actually one of where most art is sold during Q4. A little bit less certainly in January.
The stroll quarter.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Sara, for Pete and Lucie. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so guess what? We have a 10-minute intermission. The judges have their work cut out for them. They got to figure out what's going on here now. Here's the good news. The concession stand is open. They're selling beer and wine, popcorn, snacks. So take a break, 10 minutes. Stretch your legs. We'll see you back here, and we'll find out who the winners are. Thank you very much. Wow. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Can you hear the drum roll? Can you hear the drum roll? Here we go. Not easy. They're still talking to each other. All right. Can we hear it again for our 4 finalists? All 4 of them have got to be really proud, right? I mean, they pitched like they were in the World Series. And we hope that you, the audience members, might be inspired by what you just heard tonight to do a pitch of your own maybe next year in the 3rd annual pitch competition, all right? And if you want to find out more about NICE, Nantucket Island Center for Entrepreneurship, you go to the Chamber of Commerce website. Check it out there. You can sign up. And now I want you to meet the woman who is used to be head of the Nantucket Chamber of Commerce, and then she is an entrepreneur herself. She is a friend of mine. I would really like you to meet Karen McCumber, who has the winners. This is Karen McCumber. So, I don't know. She said, you want to know? And I said, no, I don't know. Because surprise is everything, right, Ellen? The end of your books, there's going to be a twist. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. So are we going the first prize winner first? Yes. Okay, I didn't take a peek. I do know that it's a check for $10,000. Karen, would you come forward and hold this up and turn it to the audience? All right, here is the winner, Nantucket Crisps. Come on out. All right. You can stand on either side. All right. Will you turn this way too? Thank the judges. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't easy, right? I mean, come on, all right? Very close, but guess what? You did it. Congratulations. Josh, did you get your photograph? All right, here you go. All right, stay on stage with us. Stay on stage. Karen? All right. All right, here we go. I can't wait to start eating Nantucket Crisps. I can't wait. Crisps, it's like Oliver, you know, the British accent, you know. Crisps, sir, would you like a crisp? All right, here's number two. Oh, wow, I just took a peek. All right, number two, the second prize winner, $5,000 for the Nantucket Captain's Camp. Woo! Whoa! Catherine, congratulations. Yeah, bring your team up. Yeah, why not? Come on, here we go. Here we go. It's not every day. Did you notice how Nantucket always has things that rhyme, like Nantucket Millie and Nantucket Marine, and now Captain's Camp. Congratulations. Great job. She wouldn't have won it without you. All right, number three. And four. But there's three before four, I think. You want to hold this on the other end, darling? Yeah, come over here. All right, you're great. Do you want?
We have actually 3 and 4 are both honorable mentions. So
oh.
They both have the same amount.
Okay, fine. Okay, so 3 and 4, I'm being informed, are honorable mentions, and they both get the same amount, $1,000. It's more than I made today. Step right up. So the Faraway Island Gallery, here we are. It says $2,500. Is that? Oh, it's $2,500. Sorry. What do I know? Well, congratulations, Lucie and Pete, and the Nantucket Faraway Chocolate. Andre, come out here, brother. Congratulations. There you are. Sorry, Catherine. So that's Karen McCumber. You know, join us next year. I know you have ideas, and then you find it on the Chamber of Commerce website. NICE, N-I-C-E. What a nice night. Thank you so much to our judges. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the Dreamland. For Josh Gray and Alicia Carney, and where is he? Tall Pole, Berard, they're back there making the show really happen with lights, sound, action, photographers who are documenting, to NCTV, who's going to be putting this out there. Thank you to that team. And thank you all for coming. We'll see you next year.